Now listen closely to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, because she's signaling Democrats' very dark and devious turn. She's already laying the groundwork for the possibility that her party may not accept the results of the midterms if Republicans take over Congress.
It is absolutely essential for our democracy that we win. I fear for our democracy if the Republicans were ever to get the gavel. We can't let that happen. Democracy is on the ballot in November.
Democracy is on the ballot in November. What a concept. Now, Nancy's twisted thinking, democracy only works if Democrats win. And if democracy didn't work, well, the logical conclusion would be to invalidate the election results, right? What else would you do? Now, once again, Democrats are guilty of what they accuse Trump of. Whether we're talking Stacey Abrams in the 2018 Georgia governor's race or Hillary in the 2016 presidential race, these people are always vindictive, sore losers. And seeing the writing on the wall, Pelosi knows that her party's about to get shellacked because they're getting dragged down by a president who seems to be decomposing before our eyes. A second poll in as many weeks has Trump winning in 2024. The Harvard-Harris poll has him up by a significant margin of 6 points. Now, look, any poll is just a snapshot in time. We don't make too much of it, and it's very early. But I think this matters here because in 2016, Trump led in just a handful of head-to-head matchups against Clinton. Well, we all know how that turned out. But for 15 months now, voters have been witnessing Biden in action. And they're now living in the wreckage of his policies. And we know they're miserable. These polls are just showing us that Americans genuinely are regretting their votes for Joe Biden. Now, things are so bad for the White House that Donald Trump kicked off Twitter and Facebook is more influential in many ways than the liberals currently in power. Almost everything Trump predicted would happen under a Biden presidency is coming true.
Joe Biden is weak. He's too scared to stand up to the radical left in his own party.
They will make every city look like Democrat-run Portland, Oregon. No one will be safe in Biden's America. China would own our country if Joe Biden got elected.
It's one of the biggest scandals I've ever seen. They found the laptop. The family on the laptop, he's gone into hiding for 5 days.
You can have gas prices as of $6 and $7.
Now, all of that happened. Meanwhile, voters see now that everything Biden, Democrats, and the media told you in 2020 was a lie.
I'm going to stay in my message. I've started off saying we have to restore the dignity and honor of the office.
Donald Trump is a Russian operative.
Jab at Biden's age, as if there is something wrong with being a senior citizen.
The public widely thinks Biden is better on COVID.
Joe Biden will be way better for the economy.
Oh, my God, I forgot about him. Now, Biden, of course, isn't the adult in the room that he promised. There was no Russian collusion, and Biden isn't sharper than ever at his age. Middle-class Americans aren't better off. Hunter Biden's laptop was real. Biden did not defeat COVID. Biden doesn't have a China strategy. America is not more respected in the world. And voters are seeing that there are worse things than mean tweets. But because Democrats are incapable of moderating their views or abandoning radicalism, they revert to their old strategy. Try to ban their opposition or prevent Trump from running again, or disqualify anyone who ever agreed with him on anything. Hence, you're seeing all the hyperventilation in the regime media about possible Trump White House criminality around Jan 6th.
And we're learning now of a new gap in another White House record.
White House phone records that were given to the House January 6th committee show a more than 7-hour gap.
What exactly was the ex-president doing on January 6th? And
learning of what appears to be a massive and blatant cover-up.
Now, Democrats somehow think that pleasing the press, which is obviously obsessed with hating Trump, is the same thing as pleasing the voters. Well, obviously it's not. It's an epic failure. The ugly truth is the self-proclaimed defenders of democracy hate our system, and they also hate most of the voters. They want the entire Electoral College scrapped. They want to pack the court. They support justices who disregard the plain language of the Constitution. And for all their tough talk against autocrats like Putin, they prefer their own brand of autocracy, where only they and their big tech oligarchs, not the voters, get to decide who's worthy of being heard and worthy of running for office. In fact, unless there are Republicans like, I don't know, Liz Cheney and Mitt Romney, Democrats don't really think you should exist at all. Now, remember their mantra. Conservatives are a threat to democracy. Trump's puppets are Putin's puppets. They're all insurrectionists and racists and anti-LGBTQ and just mean people who want to burn up the planet, gun nuts trying to drive their huge trucks to complain at school board meetings. It's so stale. It's so insipid. None of it is landing with the public. The voters are not worried about January 6th. They're worried about $6 a gallon gas. They're not stressed so much about climate change. They're stressed about crime. It's all unraveling at home, and Biden's team thought they'd boost his popularity by sending him to Poland. So they're so desperate now for traction, they're even going back to the character assassination that Biden took part in 31 years ago. Spurious attacks on Justice Clarence Thomas. Now, this time, they're using his wife's personal activism against him. This is both ludicrous and pathetic. More on that travesty later in the show. The left has been trying to cancel Trump since about 2015, and they're still trying today. Now, if he doesn't run, they'll do the same to any Republican candidate who steps in to try to fill that void. You already see what they've tried to unleash against Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, lie about his parental rights legislation, lie about his COVID record, even try to criticize him when he was with his wife at her last chemotherapy appointment. How low can they go? But the better question is, how low can Joe go in the polls? And how long will vulnerable Democrats in choppy waters tie themselves to this sinking anvil? And that's the angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.